Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with number 98 in the series Viewers Games. We're almost at 100. This one is from Rodolfo. Hello Rick, my name is Rodolfo and I'm from Brazil. I've been following your channel for some time and I'm loving the content and the way you approach it. It is a great pleasure to talk to you. It's been a long time since I sent you my game. I'm sending you a file of a newer and a little longer game, which I played on Lichess. According to the engine, my opponent and I have made a lot of mistakes and inaccuracies. I hope you have interesting lines to show. I hope everyone enjoys it. Thank you very much, says Rodolfo. It was a 10-minute game on Lichess, no increment. Rodolfo was white. His rating at the time this game was played, on the 19th of June 2019, was 1676. And his opponent, Garompa 45, had a rating of 1643. So very similar ratings. Rodolfo opened with the king's pawn. Best by test, said Bobby Fischer. G6, knight of 3 and C5, and suddenly we are in the hyper-accelerated dragon variation of the Sicilian, where white mostly plays D4 now, but Rodolfo plays it more cautiously with D3. Bishop G7, and here G3 is the main move in this position, but on move 4, Rodolfo blunders. Yes, that's very early. Bishop E3. And can you see why this is a big mistake? Just developing the bishop, everything looks fine, but there is an easy refutation. Bishop takes B2. Yes, indeed. That's not only a pawn, but also the rook is hanging and cannot be saved. Black did not see it, did not expect to be able to win material so early in the game. He played b6. Maybe he saw it just after playing b6. That often happens. The moment you make a move, you see that you should have made another one. Knight c3. Now bishop takes b2 is no longer in the position. Bishop b7 and queen d2, with the idea in mind to swap off that strong bishop on h6. And that's what will happen in the game. Knight f6, there goes that bishop. Black castled, and Rodolfo swaps that bishop off and followed it up with queen f4. Not a bad move, but probably better to first complete development with bishop e2, for example. It is not clear yet where the queen wants to go, if the queen really wants to go to f4, if that's the best square for her. Black decides to harass the queen straight away with knight h5. And queen to h4. Rodolfo's intentions are clear. He wants to attack the black king. He has the queen into the attack already. But black plays e6. Black feels an assault coming on his king and tries to get the queens off the board, offering a queen trade. g4. And the queens were swapped. The knight is attacked, so knight to f4. And that's the drawback of playing up the pawn to g4. There is now a big hole in f4, and knights love that type of square. Black goes there straight away, knight f4. Knight e2, challenging that strong knight, and e5, defending it. Knight g2, one more time, attacking the f4 square. Black took, bishop takes, and d5, pushing in the center, good move. And now an important move. Here Rodolfo played f3. And I talked before in this series about talking to your pieces. And if you would talk now to that poor bishop on e2, then the bishop would be screaming at you, Rodolfo. Don't block me in. Because now this bishop is no more than just a big pawn. It has no scope at all. The bishop is very unhappy, and the bishop will tell you that when you start talking to your pieces. By doing that, you would have avoided making that f3 move, which is really not a good move. It doesn't spoil anything, it's not a losing move, but it just hurts your eyes when you look at that bishop. E takes d5 was a good alternative. Bishop takes and then castling, for example. But f3 was played. Poor bishop. d4, h4, and f6. A number of pieces have been swapped, but no pawns yet, which is unusual. We now see a pawn chain fight developing. f4 from Rodolfo, knight d7, f5, and a pair of pawns was swapped. The first open file has appeared on the board, the g file. h6, and now h5, another move that the bishop on e2 does not like. It's hard to see how this bishop will be getting into the game. Putting that pawn on the light square really suffocates the bishop. Rook g8, knight h4. The knight did like the pawn going to h5 because now the knight can jump into action. King h7 and castling queenside from Rodolfo. Quite rare to see a castling move on move 23. a5, rook hg1 and rook g5 from black. Here knight f3 is a move, attacking the rook on g5, not allowing the black rook to stay on that strong g5 square, because rook ag8 would also be coming. The knight move challenges that rook straight away. You cannot take the pawn on h5 because there is knight takes e5. Very nice shot, and suddenly the bishop is laughing again. White wins material. So all that after rook g5 and then knight f3. But Rodolfo took on g5. H takes and knight g6. b5 from black. The game is in the balance and there's not much going on, but in a few moves there will be fire on board. So stay with me. Rook h1, c4, king d2 and b4. Black keeps expanding on the queen side. Bishop f3. This bishop is still hopelessly powerless. And c3 check. That pawn was swapped. And king c1. At first sight, king e2 looks like a better move, as white will then be able to play the rook to b1 on the open file, but it turns out that white will not be able to fight for control of the b file. If after king e2 black plays rook b8, rook b1 would not be a good move because of bishop takes e4. What a very nice shot. Your rook on b1 is hanging, and if you take on b8, there is bishop takes f3 with check, an in-between move. King takes, knight takes b8, and this is a winning position for black with his extra pawn. But as mentioned, in this position, king c1 was played and not king e2. Rook b8, logical move on the open b file. Knight e7 from Rodolfo, and knight c5. Black is now seriously better. He controls the open file and his bishop is much stronger than white's bishop. But we already knew that. h6. Here bishop a6 is a very strong move. This is actually winning for black. Let's look at one example. Let's play knight d5, centralizing the knight. But then there is suddenly a wonderful shot in the position. Knight takes d3 check. Because after c takes, bishop takes, there is nothing that white can do against rook b1 with checkmate. Where did that suddenly come from? Well, sometimes these combinations are possible. In this case, bishop a6 was a very strong move. But instead, after h6, black played a4 instead of bishop a6. Knight d5 and knight d7. Rook h3, not much to do for white either. Bishop c6, opening the b file for the rook, and knight back to e7, hitting the bishop. Bishop saves itself, and bishop h5, and that is a great move from Rodolfo. The bishop needs to be activated at all costs, and now it is activated. Taking the pawn is not good because of bishop e8 check, a discovered check, and white will win material. The black king is in check, so king g7, bishop takes d7. It looks like black can still win a piece back this way. Those two white light pieces are lined up, but there is bishop c6, nice move, and white will remain material up. Very nice move, bishop h5, activating that bishop. Black cannot take the pawn on h6. Black saw that and played rook b2. Bishop f7, protecting the pawn on a2. And for the first time in this game, white's bishop is happy. We now have a very complex position in which white is actually better. Rook b8 should be played here. The rook has to retreat to avoid losing quickly. But black did not smell a rat and played a3 instead. And white can now win with bishop g8 check. That bishop that once was so poor now attacks the black king with a vengeance. King h8 only move, knight g6 check, king takes bishop, and then h7 check, king f7 and h8 queen, followed by checkmate with rook h7. Nothing that black can do against that. That's why the rook had to hurry back. In this position, Rodolfo did not play bishop g8 check, he played bishop g6 check. And that check is not as good because the game is now in the balance. We'll see why. King h8 is the only move. And h7. Black took on a2. Threatening checkmate with rook a1. That would be a nice checkmate for black. So king d1 from Rodolfo to get a square for his king on e2. Rook b2. Planning to let the a pawn through. And bishop f7. Nice move, freeing up the g6 square for the knight. The game is extremely tense now, and no doubt that both players were very low on time. Here knight f8 is the only move, covering the g6 square, and this keeps the balance. The position is even. But black blundered, he played a2, and now he gets checkmated, and Rodolfo found the checkmating sequence. It's very similar to the variation we already saw. Knight g6 check, king g7, promotion to queen, king takes, and this was checkmate on the board. And Rodolfo had won this game. What a great fighting game of chess, and Rodolfo, well done for bringing the point home in the end. Now let's turn to the game between myself and the Chess to Impress viewers. If you take part in this game, you will be in the raffle to win this chess book. Well, written by a chess player anyway. International master Jovanka Huska together with James Essinger. The book is called The Mating Game. And it is made available by my sponsor, The Beste Zet. You can see it there in the top left. It's a web shop for chess books. Where are we? I played d4, you played knight f6. I played c4, you played g6, knight c3, bishop g7. e4 was my move, and a large majority of viewers suggested the move d6. So it's my move, and I play knight f3 on my fifth move. And now it's your turn again. You can put your move in the comment section of this video, and I will announce your fifth move and my sixth move in the viewers game number 99, which will be posted next Sunday. Every Sunday I post a viewers game. I hope you enjoyed Rodolfo's adventure in this game. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel, and please leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you like this video, if you like the series, please share it on social media by clicking the share button on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram, on Twitter and on Facebook. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.